Welcome back to Random Info Corner. I'm your host, Meanie Tiny, and today we'll be talking about the steps of little to no information. Remember the promise I made back in How to Research Writing? It's finally getting answered. For this, we are using Gravedale High as an example. Before I start, for those of you who don't know what Gravedale High is, we have previously made a video and have left a link in the description box below for you to find out. Now, let's get started. I'm certain that many of you are wondering how I found all of the information for Gravedale High, especially when the people who reviewed the show could only find about 2 paragraphs of history. To them, this left only being able to talk about the characters and their respective voice actors, not to mention nitpicking the show. I could have stopped there, but my curiosity took me further, and I wanted to know why there was little to no information. At first, I would type in what happened to the show, but nothing popped up. If anything, it raised more questions when I found out about the Happy Meal toys. I also knew that, unlike Phantasmagoria, there are no books that talk about the show. So I had to start from scratch and really think on how I was going to find the information that didn't exist. Trying to figure out how I was going to answer my big question, I had to figure out where to start, especially when all I had was the show. After watching it over again, I realized something important. I realized that I had a clue the entire time. My clue was the end title card. When I read "Created by," I knew I had a lead. The creator was none other than David Kirshner. Of course, he rarely mentions Gravedale High, but then I found another clue hidden in plain sight. The next clue was that it was produced by Hanna-Barbera. This rattled my brain, especially because I knew that for a fact that Hanna-Barbera's cartoons were definitely a hit. Before trying to read everything from the duo, I decided to focus around the year the cartoon came out, which was 1990, but I soon realized that ownership had changed. This brought me back to David Kirshner, which made me look between the lines. I realized that Kirshner was writing other shows at the same time, which prompted the question, what other shows were on during the time? Instead of having to figure out what cartoons came out during the early 90s, late 80s, I remembered that there are people who would keep TV guides, telling you what was on during the time. It was a long shot, but I got lucky and found one. I double-checked the cartoons that were listed and confirmed that it is correct. Unfortunately, the 3 shows I mentioned in my video were definitely overshadowing Gravedale High, which is why it's barely remembered. While looking at other YouTubers reviewing the show, I wondered what other videos were out there and found a commercial of the show and of the Happy Meal toys. I was intrigued on how a show gets to have toys in McDonald's, but I soon realized that this was a rabbit hole and I did not want to end up there. Telling my editor about my question, she answered honestly. Maybe McDonald's thought that since it was from the production company of Hanna-Barbera, then the toys would sell easily, just like their previous toys of Scooby-Doo and other more well-known cartoons. As I was finishing up my script for the episode, there was another video that I almost overlooked, a German version of said theme song. I almost passed it up, especially when the information is coming from a source that could be seen as unreliable. Again, my curiosity was able to help me move forward and find out the truth of the international releases. With luck, the websites under the references did help me see the final answers. The final question is to answer the big question. What happened to Gravedale High? Now knowing the history, the timeline, and going off by observing the comments in other websites, I was able to come up with an answer. With a new leader in charge, as well as the creator of many other shows during the time, Gravedale High wasn't going to last either ways, especially when it gets overshadowed by bigger, more known cartoons and the network was going to stop airing animations altogether. Luckily though, there are people who enjoy the cartoon and are able to keep it alive. Before I end the video, I do want to clarify the steps that I took in case any of you got lost. Start with the big question. Look for obvious clues that are hidden in plain sight. Remember to focus on your dates. They are very important when researching. Start by being curious and dig deeper. but not too deep. If it's not enough, tell a friend your questions and maybe they can help by assuming or even guide you to a different question. Don't forget to review your original findings. They may just give you a final clue. Finally, put your findings together and see what you have found. Let us know if this has helped you on your research. Don't forget to share this knowledge with other people who might be interested. And remember, I got your back. This has been your host, Meanie Tiny, wishing you a hinted day.